War is usually remembered through faces, kings, generals, conquerors. But history hides a darker truth. For centuries, Europe's wars were decided long before armies ever met on the battlefield. Not by strategy, not by courage, but by something buried deep beneath frozen ground. Iron. Not just any iron. Swedish iron. A material so important, so powerful, that entire empires rose or collapsed depending on who controlled it. And most people never knew it existed. If you looked at Sweden in the Middle Ages, you wouldn't see a future superpower. You'd see forests, endless cold, thin soil, small villages struggling to survive brutal winters. No great cities, no massive population, no obvious path to dominance. And yet, buried beneath this unforgiving land was one of the most important military resources in human history. Iron ore with an unusually low phosphorus content. To most people, that sounds meaningless. To warfare, it meant everything. Medieval iron had a problem. It broke. Weapons bent in combat. Armor cracked under pressure. Cannons exploded after repeated use. The reason was phosphorus, a contaminant that made iron brittle. Most European iron was filled with it. But Swedish ore was different. Cleaner, stronger, more predictable. When forged correctly, it created metal that could endure stress without snapping, perfect for swords, armor, artillery, and ship fittings. This wasn't just better iron. It was reliable violence. Sweden had something else Europe desperately needed: forests. Millions of acres of dense woodland meant charcoal hotter and purer than coal. This allowed Swedish blast furnaces to reach temperatures other regions couldn't sustain. The result? Iron that could be shaped with precision. Weapons that could survive prolonged warfare. Cannons that didn't betray their crews. Entire towns existed only to mine, smelt, and export iron. No monuments, no glory, just furnaces glowing in the dark, feeding Europe's hunger for war. Then came Gustavus Adolphus, a king who understood something revolutionary. Wars aren't won by size alone, they're won by efficiency. Using Swedish iron, he equipped his army with lighter cannons that could move rapidly across the battlefield, while enemy artillery crawled forward. Swedish guns were already firing. Armor was thinner, but stronger. Swords were lighter, but deadlier. Sweden, a nation that should have been crushed, suddenly dominated Europe's battlefields during the 30 Years' War. Historians praise tactics, but tactics were built on steel. Here's where the story turns dark. Sweden wasn't just supplying itself, it was supplying everyone. England, France, the Dutch Republic. Even enemies who fought Swedish armies relied on Swedish iron for their weapons. By the 1700s, Swedish iron quietly underpinned Europe's military infrastructure. Armies marched with Swedish steel. Navies sailed with Swedish boats. Cannons roared with Swedish metal. Europe wasn't fighting wars. It was recycling Swedish iron violently. Britain's rise as a naval empire had a hidden weakness. Before modern smelting, British iron was inferior. So Britain imported Swedish iron bars by the thousands. Without them, ships weakened, cannons failed, factories slowed. During wartime, protecting iron shipments became as critical as protecting gold. Because an empire without iron was an empire waiting to fall. By the Napoleonic era, iron wasn't just a resource, it was a target. Blockades aimed to choke iron supply. Trade routes became lifelines. Smuggling Swedish iron became an act of survival. Wars were no longer fought only on land and sea. They were fought in mines, in forests, in furnaces glowing under Arctic skies. Eventually, technology changed. Coal replaced charcoal. Industrial steel production spread. Sweden lost its monopoly, but its legacy remained. For centuries, Swedish iron shaped the outcome of wars without ever appearing in history books. No statues, no epics, no anthems, just steel. We remember battles, but battles are the final chapter. The real decisions are made long before, in the ground, in the forge, in the resources no one notices until they're gone. For hundreds of years, Swedish iron decided who ruled Europe, not with words, not with armies, but with silence and strength.